Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at a very interesting Pokemon actually. We're going to have here a triple buff team. We're going to have the Diggersby with the Scorching Sand, even though I'm not too sure if this is actually a buff for this Pokemon. Here right now we're going to get the attack drop, which is kind of nice, but as you know me already, like usually I don't really get the chances of those moves. Like usually I'm pretty poor with that one. But then we're going to have as a say swap the Mantine here, which is definitely a cool Pokemon, especially against something like a Gligar, as you're going to have access to the move Ice Beam. But the main Pokemon we're going to take a look at today, which you're most likely already seeing through the title and the thumbnail, is going to be the Shadow Gardevoir. This Pokemon is getting now Triple Axel, and why is it so interesting? Because it's a charm Pokemon that is doing a ton of damage with a fast move. But Triple Axel is the fastest move it can get to and guarantees an attack buff. Plus Charm plus attack buff sounds kinda nice, right? Yeah, we're going to take a look at the second game right now. We're going to have a very good lead for us and now a very good say-swap for us. Mandiboss say-swap against us is going to be nice. I'm going to shoot up the first move in case it's a Dark Pulse, but they actually baited me first. But I still should be able to survive a Dark Pulse with our Gardevoir, and we will be able to do this. Sadly, I did not click the Triple Axel and thought that I would still get to the next move, because I forgot that, of course, the Magnezone has already the Volt Switch as a fast move, which you also most likely already saw on my channel. Made a video about this Pokemon. Very good Pokemon to use, but not so much if you get basically Hard Ward here. I'm going to be able to hit the Hyper Beam against the opponent, but they're going to shield this move up, but they're going to just get Hard Ward by the Mantine. And this was just an RPS win here right now. Sorry to my opponent here, I actually know the opponent as well. Yeah, someone that also watches at least some of my videos and actually has been featured, I think, several times already on the channel with some very spicy teams here. We're going to be able to easily win this game, as we're going to be able to do a ton of damage with the aerial AC against the opponent. They're most likely going to be able to swap out now after this one, but it does not really matter. I can still go for one charge move here. The Mantine is going to be able to survive the incoming fast move, as well as I can farm them down here with my Diggersby, allowing me to go for another Scorching Sand to knock out the opponent's Medicham here. So this is going to be a good game. Next opponent, we're going to have a Lickitung in the lead. This is a fairly decent lead. Like, it is, I don't know, like I actually don't really like it too much, because of course the opponent has a super effective charge move. We're going to be able to double resist the fast move though, which is kind of nice. So I feel like it's a kind of neutral matchup. You do neutral damage, the opponent does double resist damage with its fast move, but super effective damage with its charge move. But they're going to try to catch a move here onto the Pelipper. They definitely caught a move, but it was a Hyper Beam, and I don't think they really expected this one, as we can now farm them all the way down with our Mantine, and we will see the Lickitung coming back in. The opponent is now so far behind because I didn't get to a Hurricane with a Pelipper anymore. We just got a ton of energy on our Mantine without really any, issues or anything like this. We were able to just get so much energy, gonna get also the energy of the opponent's Lickitung, as they're forced to throw here right now. Now it just depends on what they're going to have in the back. Is it something that we can counter? We will find out shortly. It's going to be the Ninetales. And you're going to see me making an interesting play here right now. Of course, Ninetales resist Charm, which is kind of bad for me, but you're going to see me no-shielding this one here right now. Why did I do this? Because this was the only weather ball that I would be able to survive. If I would shield this one and go for the next one, unless I would get the debuff here, which I never really get, so I don't really think about it, they would have put me already into knockout range for another weather ball. So this was the only one that I could take for free, basically. Keep my shields now alive for my Gardevoir, and Gardevoir can just finish up this battle here right now, and we can move on to the next one. So far, so not that many Triple Axel at least, but I definitely used this move several times in this video as well, so stay tuned for this one. We're going to see at least here some damage of Scorching Sand. Diggersby would be so nice if I would get the attack drop here immediately onto the Greedent. Would honestly makes such a huge difference, and this is the thing with Scorching Sands, which I don't really like, because I'm never going to be able to be like the person that's really lucky with that stuff. If you're going to get a debuff from this move early on, it completely shifts a ton of matchups, but that's a 30% chance, so like you're going to more often don't really have the best matchups. For example, this one here right now, and this is like the thing where I really feel like the Lantern really got buffed, because yes, they would have most likely been able to farm me down prior as well with Spark, but it would have taken them so much longer that I would have got so much more damage onto them, and like this they're going to be able to easily farm me down, get 100 energy, and now we're going to have to deal with a Lantern fully loaded, and honestly Lantern is such a huge buff for it. And the thing is right now, which people also don't really distinguish really. Lantern itself got buffed, but the meta itself around it got kinda nicer towards playing against it. For example, Lickitung is now easier to play as Noctowl is gone, grass type Pokemon are easier to play as Noctowl is gone. That kinda impacts this one, of course. But if you just look at Lantern separate from the meta itself, you're going to see that Lantern really got buffed by giving Spark 2 extra damage plus -1 extra energy there. Like, it's definitely an upgrade for the Lantern because it's basically now what's called the Water Gun on steroids, basically just same damage as Water Gun plus giving it more energy generation. Before, people were running Water Gun already just because it did more damage, and now you have basically the perks of having Water Gun plus a little bit more energy generation of it, which is just so ridiculous. I don't like it at all. Please nerf it for the next season then, at least Niantic, because I don't think it's going to be healthy, especially not in long term. Right now it might be balanced, but like, I feel like the meta going to shift eventually, and as soon as it's going to shift a little bit away from what we have right now, Lantern going to be completely broken because Pokemon just going to have a better time. But right now, at least there's some Pokemon that have coverage for it, which are basically meta right now, both Lickitung as well as Cresselia. But other than this, it's going to be a tough one to deal with later on, so not really the happiest about the Spark Nerf, but I already said that several times that, or like more the Spark Buff in this case, that I hope that they're going to rework it again. I don't know, like, this is the thing as well, like, for me as a content creator, I'm fairly happy with this season just because there are so many Pokemon getting so many new moves, which means I can do so much more different content and showcase Pokemon that I usually wouldn't touch. But the thing is right now, I just don't really like the way the meta shifted towards the meta itself. I think it's a better meta right now compared to last season, don't get me wrong, that's not what I mean with this. But just like the Pokemon that got buffed, like, you're going to have even more Medicham, you're going to have even more Lantern soon. Like, it's not really the thing that I would have liked to see, but it's how it is. I really wish that Astonish did something and was not completely garbage like they did there. Stuff like this kinda is annoying. But at least a Diggersby with Scorching Sand. Still not sure if I like this one. Honestly, I'm fairly certain that I'm not the happiest about this one, and I'm fairly certain that I think that, especially for this team, Earthquake plus Fire Punch would have been better. But of course, I mean Earthquake before it got nerfed. So yeah, right now, I think it's cool that Diggersby got an alternative move for hitting Pokemon, because like Earthquake got nerfed, and like Diggersby wasn't the strongest Pokemon before already, so like now it's kinda still balanced and usable. But I still don't think that it's better than the Earthquake Fire Punch variant which we had prior. It's definitely a lot more fun to play Hyper Beam though, and there's definitely going to be a match later on which you're going to love to see, where Hyper Beam really came in clutch, so definitely stay tuned for that one. But here we're going to now have an Umbreon against us. I expect that they're going to be weak against my Gardevoir in the back, so I'm going to use a shield here against the opponent's Umbreon, and hopefully I can use my Triple Axel soon, as we're going to see that the opponent going to swap into the Ninetales, and I make a huge mistake. I should have went for the Scorching Sands a little bit earlier, because it would have been so much better for me. Like this, I'm now going to be able to use it in a CMP tie, but luckily my opponent decides to use a shield here, as they're going to actually run the Medicham in the back. If they just didn't use their shield, I'm fairly certain there was nothing I could have done to win this game here. But like this, I'm going to be able to get my Scorching Sand off. This attack drop is huge, literally gigantic, and it's also very weird that they go for Psychic here, so they're most likely running something like Power Punch or something. But like this, we were able to farm them all the way down, get up to the Shadow Ball, and our Gardevoir is going to be able to just one-shot the opponent's Ninetales, and we can move on to the next game. This is basically the core breaker for this team, and this is where, like, honestly, I would recommend you, if you really want to run a team with Diggersby right now, run Pelipper in the back. Run Mantine. Actually, I would actually use Mantine as a closer for this team and use Pelipper as a safe swap. But yeah, if you use this team, I would not really recommend you to have Gardevoir in the back. I would rather go for Pelipper as a safe swap and Mantine in the back. But right now, of course, we have to deal with this one here right now, but we're going to have to try to see if I can play around it. And honestly, I'm kind of upset on how I played this matchup in general. This is totally fine here. Like, using a shield in order to realign A, but also get a ton of energy is totally fine. But let's see what they're going to go into. They're going to go into their Medicham here, which is going to be a little bit awkward for us, as we have to go for Aerial Ace. And I'm going to try to catch a move here onto my Gardevoir, which is going to work out fairly well. But I honestly made a misplay with this one. I shouldn't have done this. I should have went to my Diggersby, and this was actually my biggest misplay during this time here right now. Because what I actually could have done is I could have caught the move on Diggersby. The opponent most likely would have swapped out into their Venusaur again there. Would have most likely knocked me out. I still had the energy on my Manta and would have been able to get a shield back. But at the end of the day, I would have just had the opponent's Venusaur a little bit lower already. I would have still had my Gardevoir with a shield left, and I would have been able to just farm through the opponent. So while I get completely destroyed by this core breaker of Shadow Venusaur, I think I still actually had a chance of winning this game if I played it a little bit differently. But this is going to be an interesting game. Let me show you this one. This was my favorite game out of them all. We have a horrible lead and also a horrible say-swap here. We're going to have these Steelix against us, which is going to be able to win this matchup, usually at least. But honestly, I make a small mistake here in this matchup as well, which I'm going to show you right now. We see the Breaking Stab coming through. This is totally fine. But here we're going to be able to go for the Ice Beam against the opponent, and we're going to see that they're going to be in another Ice Beam range, basically. So if we're gonna get to another one, we should be fine. And I would have been able to get to another one. You see here right now, I go for the Aerial Ace, but I would have survived another one, and I would have been able to still get to my Ice Beam with another fast move afterwards, and this would have been so much better because I would have been able to realign my Pokemon. But like this, I'm going to have to take an Earthquake onto my Diggersby, get a ton of damage against me, and I just have to hope that my Gardevoir can do something here right now. And can Gardevoir do something? We will find out shortly. But what we're going to see here for the, I think actually first time today in this video, is going to be Triple Axel on this Pokemon, allowing it to get an attack buff here. So we're going to use the shield twice here, and I will be able to farm them all the way down. But as you can see here right now, the opponent going to have now the Medicham basically against us. We're going to be able to get the attack buff, which is going to definitely help us here, as the one charm that came through did so much more damage now, and this opponent still has a shield left. But of course, we have to go for the one play that can win us the game, and it actually worked out well, as we were able to farm on the opponent, and this is going to be a very good game, and definitely my favorite game from today. Let's take a look at the next opponent here. We're going to have a Greedent in the lead, and we're going to see the opponent going to a Gligar. This is going to be an interesting matchup because it's actually closer than he thought. And what he didn't see here right now is they got, of course, immediately the buff on their Gligar. I don't have sound on, but I see it based on the damage that they do here right now, that this Night Slash that is coming through here right now is definitely double boosted, as well as the wing attack damage is double boosted, which is going to force us to go ahead and go for the Aerial Ace bait, because otherwise we would not get to another Ice Beam, which we would have done definitely before if we didn't get the boost against us immediately here. So this was unfortunate, but we're still going to be able to win back switch advantage, as well as we're going to be able to get another Aerial Ace off here, and we have a shield advantage. So if the opponent has something weak to Gardevoir in the back, we should be fairly decent, because I can take every move here from the Greedent onto my Diggersby. It's still going to hurt because Body Slam spam always going to hurt, but I will get them fairly low. And I know that I have to hit a Hyper Beam against the opponent in order to knock them out, so I'm gonna go exactly for that, as they just spam me the entire way through with the, Body Slam here. There was a video earlier already on my channel about Greedent as well as Swallow. Definitely check that one out. Also going to be linked in the end card anyway, so you can just wait the 2 more minutes of this video and you're going to see it anyway. But here we're going to finally see where Triple Axel can come in clutch. Most people playing the current moveset that I have on my Diggersby, so I expected them they would go for the Scorching Sands here. So I decided to shield it, go for the Triple Axel, and we can say goodbye to that Diggersby, as we can get the completely unnecessary attack buff at the end here. Final game of today. Let's see how this is gonna go. Tropius in the lead, and this is horrible, and you're going to see me here swapping into my Gardevoir, because this is my only chance, as they're also going to have the Lantern in the back. This is a complete hard counter, and here's one thing where I really hate that Spark got buffed, because you see here already, my opponent can easily just farm me down. This was not the case beforehand. Like this, they're going to be able to get a ton of energy, but before basically they decided to buff Spark a little bit now in terms of the damage output, I would have been able to do so much more damage with my Gardevoir there, and like those scenarios, it just matters so much. And I feel like that, especially in the back, Lantern is just so overpowered right now. I just don't like it. Here we're going to be able to now catch a move from the opponent, which is going to be the Leaf Blade. But of course, if we're going to get hard countered the entire way through, we also have to get hard countered at the back here with the Galarian Stunfisk. And sadly, we don't have Bubble Beam anymore. We only have Ice Beam, which is going to be neutral. So, what is my plan here right now? My only plan that I can go for is I can hope that I can swap out in time, so I can maybe catch maybe something like the Rock Slide onto my Diggersby, maybe go for a Hyper Beam against the Tropius. We will find out shortly, and you see me here going for the Aerial Ace because I have to keep my energy and I have to just get rid of the Switch Clock here right now, as they're gonna go for a Rock Slide and it is not looking good. The opponent gonna go into their Tropius. Maybe I can get a shield here and they think it's a Fire Punch. Maybe I could get the attack drop here. Of course I get neither. And now it's down to the Mantine, which can go for an Aerial Ace here right now, but it is not going to do enough as they're going to shield this move up anyway. They have a ton of energy stored, and this is going to be it for today's video, as the double Leaf Blade is all it takes to knock me out. And yeah, this is kind of unfortunate, but there was nothing I can do. Completely hard-walled again. And yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.